Welcome back, scholars and fellow historians, to today's explainer. We are jumping right in today, stepping way beyond the usual written treaties of kings or the secret contracts of courts. Instead, we're going to adopt the perspective of an ancient observer. We're looking at the historical record to see how raw, natural forces act as the ultimate, totally indifferent limit to both royal and tyrannical authority. Because if you really want to study the absolute limits of power, you've got to understand the forces that simply cannot be bribed, threatened, or commanded. To the scholar of royal authority, it's absolutely vital to understand that true power isn't found sitting on some demonic throne. It's actually an ancient council of balance that existed long before kings, official seals, or political titles were ever even invented. Throughout history, rulers in the 72 demons have mistakenly believed they own the world. But as this ancient observation points out, humanity and demons are literally just temporary guests. Nature remains entirely indifferent to their crowns. These natural masters aren't owners, you see. They're witnesses. Okay, here's a quick look at our syllabus. We're going to cover the limits of royal power, move into earth, water, and air, then explore fire and the living world, time, decay, and renewal, and finally, we'll directly contrast natural law against demonic command.
Section 1. The limits of royal power, beyond kings and courts.
We've got to start by completely shattering the false premise that human empires and demonic crowns hold absolute permanent power in this world. They just don't. In fact, the Natural Powers Codex outlines 7 primary natural elements. We're talking earth, water, fire, air, life, time, and decay. And across these domains sit 13 masters. Now, it's crucial to understand that they function as ancient forces, not demonic commands. You can't just give them orders like a tyrant would. They speak only with the law of their element, and honestly, that immutable law is exactly why the 72 demons fear them so much.
Section 2. Earth, Water, and Air. Unbribable Realities. As we dig into our first major grouping, we're exploring how the very landscape itself disrupts state control and tyrannical ambition. Think about how the masters of Earth act like immutable historical records. For example, Orun-Keth, the master of stone, operates on this core law: truth endures pressure. So when royal officials try to deny a secret meeting with a demon, Orun-Keth literally repeats that meeting as permanent cracks in the stone walls. It turns a royal boast into a permanent, uneditable record. Then you have Isha Lomhan, the keeper of bread. Her law states that power must feed what it takes from. No kingdom can boast about its greatness while Isha starves their fields, instantly exposing any demonic bargain that tries to steal future bread. Together with Thalan Oros up in the high mountains and Maerun Deeproot beneath the earth, the physical world just flat out refuses to cooperate with arrogance.
And out on the waters, well, we see similar devastating resistance. Auren Vel, the master of rivers, represented by that silver spiral, forces everything borrowed to return to its source. Auren undoes false possession, effectively washing away the arrogance of lesser thrones by revealing exactly where stolen names and forgotten memories travel. Meanwhile, that dark wave beneath a moonhook belongs to Maerun Tideborn, master of seas. Maerun swallows the black fleets of human emperors who mistakenly put their trust in demonic blessings rather than the tide itself. Because as Maerun's law clearly states, all empires eventually meet the tide.
Now, it is absolutely fascinating how the elements of air handle deceit. Elyra Vey's storms act as a kind of violent honesty. Demons who rely on quiet, shadowy manipulation are terrified of thunder because Elyra's sudden pressure makes secrecy literally impossible. The sky breaks what will not bend. On the flip side, we have Narel the Uncaught, master of winds, who acts as the ultimate disruptor of state communication. Since whispers can be scattered, Narel takes state-controlled propaganda and demonic rumors and just throws them into total contradiction, proving that a single surviving whispered warning can outmaneuver an entire army.
Section 3. Fire and the Living World. Testing Purpose and Instinct.
As we move into analyzing the elements of fire and life, we see how nature ruthlessly tests the legitimacy of both mortal claims and demonic glamour. The absolutely crucial point here is the profound contrast between natural fire and demonic fire. So we have Sarah Ashenheart, the master of natural fire, up against the demonic entity Belial. Belial represents royal fire, right? It relies entirely on pride, favor, and forced domination. But Sarah Ashenheart's clean flame belongs to the world itself. Her fire tests your purpose. If flame is used to clear corruption, it brings rebirth, leaving behind an ash that utterly refuses any demonic growth. It exposes false miracles simply by being true. This concept is beautifully encapsulated by her symbol, a red coal inside a white seed. This pure, natural fire tests whether a sparked ember left behind by a demon is going to become a useful, life-giving hearth for the world, or just a devastating wound. It's a truly brilliant mechanism of natural balance.
Moving right along into the living world, we find two incredibly observant masters. Sylvae Thest, master of forests, operates on the law that every single lie leaves a footprint. Her groves remember the exact direction of a stranger's breath, and they'll actually send roots up through floorboards as undeniable proof of hidden bargains. Next to her, we have Rauk Manytracks, the instinct king and master of beasts. Rauk represents the raw, completely unbribable honesty of animal instinct. It's a force that doesn't need to invent fancy crowns just to justify its appetite.
Just look at how beasts instinctually detect and reject false masters. This is a super fascinating historical reality. Demonic glamour might easily trick the human mind, but animals, they react way before we do. I mean, you can disguise yourself as a high-ranking royal official all you want, but you are not going to stop the local dogs from howling at you in the street. Horses will flat out refuse to travel down haunted roads. Birds instinctively abandon false sanctuaries. In all our historical records, Rokugtak acts as this ancient, built-in early warning system. When official political documents declare an era of total peace, the animals tell the absolute truth by simply refusing to go to sleep.
Section 4. Time, Decay, and Renewal. The final word in history. And now, we arrive at the inevitable horizon. These are the final natural forces that guarantee that all reigns, no matter how politically entrenched or demonically powerful they might be, must eventually come to an end. Here we have Elyra Fourfold, the master of seasons. Elyra operates on a terrifyingly simple law. No reign remains unchanged. This is the wheel that refuses kings, and it brings absolute terror to demonic crowns who are constantly chasing permanent supremacy. Elyra forces the decline of empires, naturally ages their enchantments, and patiently reminds rulers that every single era of arrogance eventually, inevitably, arrives at winter.
Closing out the circle of natural power is Tethra Nobloom, the master of decay and renewal. Tethra's law is simple. Rot turns crowns into earth. Decay receives kings and beggars with exactly the same patience. It literally cannot be bribed to look the other way. Instead, Tetra slowly transforms ruined royal altars into mushroom rings and turns broken castle towers into fertile soil for the future. It makes consequence itself a fertile ground.
Section 5. Natural law versus demonic command. The ultimate contrast.
So, to wrap up our academic study, When we directly contrast the artificial, desperate mechanics of demonic tyrants with the completely unbribable reality of nature, it just crystallizes everything we've talked about today. On one side, demonic command relies desperately on names, fear, rank, and contracts. It's inherently vulnerable because it completely depends on dependency, secrecy, and lies. But on the other side, natural law, the 13 masters we've explored today, moves through balance, memory, weather, and decay. Their greatest strength is their absolute indifference. They cannot be bribed. They will always outlast human political structures, proving over and over again that no crown is older than the world itself.
As you head out from this explainer, I really want you to consider a chilling question posed by Enyovra Fourfold, the Master of Seasons. When a supposedly eternal tyrant stands up and proudly declares the doctrine of the first name, what comes after first? It's a question that cuts deeper than any sword, reminding us all that every eternal reign inevitably meets winter, decay, and ultimately renewal. Keep that in the back of your mind the next time you're studying a regime that claims it will last forever. Thanks for joining me today, scholars. Keep observing and keep learning.